Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Rise of the Podcast. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Kara.
And I'm Brownie. And the day has come. It's time to look at the terrible things about Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
It had to come.
It had to happen.
So, I mean, we can't do this series without doing this video. It was hard to come up with some terrible things, but there's some terrible things to be said.
All right. Let's hop in. Let's do it.
So, because we had to be a little bit nitpickier, we can't really break it down into the nice big categories like we had before. We've got a couple of things we're going to talk about, and then we're just going to go into like, here's the everything else that we're just going to nitpick on because we're jerks. So
because we can.
Because we can. This is the internet. We're allowed to
Right?
just tear everything apart because we think we know better.
Obviously.
All right, so I think the first big thing, and I think this is something that is sort of a big flaw with the film, is the relationship between Padme and Anakin at the end. Or in this,
Yes.
at the end of this arc, the third movie.
Yes.
Well,
So, like, as much as we didn't like the way that they were developing the relationship, now that the relationship has finally culminated, Padme, who's a strong freaking character, basically just lets Anakin walk all over
yeah,
her.
she like rolls over. She's like, okay,
Like,
you're the alpha male in this relationship.
like as soon as she tries to like question him on something and he gets all angry about it and stuff, she's just like, whatever.
Yep.
Right.
And it just feels out of character for her, and it really
totally does.
it sets the tone for the relationship. I think it was Jeremy who brought it up that it's kind of like an abuser relationship,
Yeah,
like
right.
Feels
not a
like
physical
that.
abuse relationship, but like a mental abuse relationship where he just treats her like crap and then she keeps coming back.
Right.
What if the democracy we thought we were serving no longer exists? And the Republic has become the very evil we've been fighting to destroy.
I don't believe that. And you're sounding like a separatist.
It's really frustrating.
It's tough to watch. It's a little bit because again, I'm all about that plausibility, and it's just not fitting for her character.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
think about the previous movies where the one scene where Anakin's like, they're on Naboo, and Anakin's talking, and she says something. She's like, "Oh, he's just a Padawan learner," and he like all of a sudden freaks out. And she's like, "Excuse me, this is my home planet." Like she doesn't take that from him, but now that she's married, she's like,
Well,
You're breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow.
Because of Obi-Wan.
Because of what you've done. What you plan to do. Stop. Stop now. Come back. I love you.
well, exactly. And then he goes from being like, I don't want to say deferential, but he at least listens to her.
right.
And then he just goes like she's trying to give him good, really realistic advice.
Right.
And he's like, "No, I had a vision."
yes.
You know, and it's like if there's one major character flaw throughout all of the films with Anakin, it's that he knows that he's powerful.
Right.
Right.
And
That's
it's
just it.
it makes him just a jerk the whole time.
He's one of those egotistical guys that you run into. They're like, "Yeah, I'm a bodybuilder," and like they
I'm a
just
force buff.
right. That's just
He's got a
like-
barbed wire tattoo.
right. Seriously, he goes to the Force gym and he's using his Force moves in the mirror and taking selfies.
Which way to the lightsabers?
right.
So
God.
no, we see that.
So
And then on top of it too, like the going back to the abuser thing where she just kind of takes it. On Mustafar, he Force chokes her.
You're with him! You brought him here to kill me!
No.
Let her go, Anakin. Let her go.
He just tried to kill you.
Well,
So yeah.
My goodness.
No, it's
I would
I
not
agree.
put
It's
up with
like
that.
so. Yeah, like I think they were kind of stuck in a situation where they needed to show that like she still cared, and that's why.
correct.
But
I mean,
it's just
if Jeremy tried to Force choke me, I'd kick him to the curb. He'd be
So.
out like yesterday's garbage.
with 2 missing legs and a missing arm.
So you think you can't use the Force.
All right. So yeah, that was one of the things that we found.
Sorry, I get salty about that kind of stuff.
So so while we're dumping on Anakin, we can just move right into the next one. So just Anakin in particular, outside of Padme, one of the things that people keep on telling him to be careful around Palpatine.
Right.
Yes.
And he just won't listen.
I should do a supercut of all the times.
Right. Well, how
May says it, Yoda says it,
Right.
Obi-Wan says it.
But
Yeah.
then, like, when he hangs out with him, how can you be so blind to the manipulation that Palpatine's obviously using? Like,
Kill him. Kill him now.
I shouldn't.
All who gain power are afraid to lose it, even the Jedi.
The Jedi use their power for good.
Good is a point of view, Anakin. The Sith and the Jedi are similar in almost every way.
oh,
Well,
if they actually trusted you, they would allow
Well-
you to do this. It's like,
It's a little bit believable because you know that he thinks that he's strong.
correct.
And so,
And
like,
so
he's
his
just
ego
he's
is
just
blinding
leaning on.
him.
Yeah, he's leaning on.
yeah.
Like, initially, it's like the ego's like, well, you should be a Jedi Master. They can't put you on the
Yes.
council and make you only a Jedi Knight.
That's true.
And then so so vanity, ego, and then fear, all the classic tropes that you're supposed to avoid.
Yeah.
So part of it is just Anakin won't not do the things they tell him not to do.
Right.
Yeah.
But then,
Don't push that button.
yeah, and then
Big red
Palpatine's just nudges him even further into the thing, so that the premonition, the fear about Padme dying, all the loss he's already gone through, he's just hitting all those things, and he's just immune to common sense.
Darth Plagueis was a dark lord of the Sith, so powerful and so wise, he could use the Force to influence the midi-chlorians to create life. He could even keep the ones he cared about from dying.
He's the serious version of Jar Jar Binks. Just does everything he shouldn't do.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And that it stuck out to us. It's like, and part of it's nitpicky because it's like, obviously the movies wouldn't have happened if he wouldn't have done it.
Right,
But the
right.
characterization of him leading into it, it
Right.
left a little to be desired.
Right.
I think it's a nice way of saying it.
That's nice.
So you get, and this is the terrible things about episode 3. So you've got this great fight scene that we talked about in the previous video.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
You see Anakin physically, mentally transform into Darth Vader. He wakes up and finds out Padme is dead.
Where is Padme? It seems in your anger, you killed her.
And you get this out of place. No.
Daddy held it out long enough.
Just a funny little, thing that just really
Right.
didn't seem to fit the characters.
And like,
I think
I feel like the action didn't go with it. She's like, no, like it's like,
right, he's
I feel
stuff's
like-
rattling, droids are blowing
so
up.
Right, it's like-
everything except for the note was like you could see him just like this raw manifestation of the Force, and he's just like busting stuff up.
Right.
But the no is just like
Some
cheesy.
sort of, even silence or just him breathing, anything would have been enough, but the
Well-
no was just over the top.
yeah.
And to go back to Galaxy of Heroes, when you were playing that, that's like the classic Vader dying sound.
In the video.
I mean, doesn't matter if it's ship going down or if it's actually him going down. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So-
No, but yeah. So that was my beef with that little bit.
And I think that's one of those bigger ones that a lot of people will latch on to, that it's just you took a really iconically super cool bad guy and then just made him go, no. So,
Right.
but so speaking of bad guys, we do have a couple of Palpatine things on here that we weren't particularly fond of.
Yeah. And we agree that he's trying to manipulate Anakin here.
Most likely,
But when he force lightnings his own face, like, oh, he's hurting me, Anakin.
Yeah.
You're hurting yourself.
Yeah, it's the quintessential stop punching yourself moment.
Right.
The power to save the one you love! Don't let it kill me.
So yeah, it's just like
So dumb.
we understand the context that it's supposed to have, but like it's just a little bit off. So like if it was something where like he hit him and immediately he's like, "Pah," and he's like,
And
oh,
then
he's gonna kill me,
stopped, like,
Anakin, and then he
blinded
just
or
jumps
something,
in.
yeah.
Right.
That totally would have been enough.
Yep.
But they just took it a little bit just too long.
Right.
Like one of the rare sort of pacing issues inside of this movie,
Correct.
but definitely was something that takes you out of the film.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
And so tied to that same scene, once he's transformed, disfigured himself, all of a sudden he gets this, like he has like a microphone with some like reverb on it.
Right. That's
That he's
just,
talking into.
seriously, and it only lasts for like 2 minutes, and they must have
Right.
realized at that point, oh, this doesn't work. But the actual raw cut of it was with the echo, so they're like, well, okay, I'm just gonna roll with it.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like, and if it was something, because there's other parts of him that, like, so like his face or whatever, like he gets like the Sith eyes,
Yep.
whatever. He gets all these like physical transformations to go with his ultimate reveal of being like this powerful Sith Lord.
Yeah.
And if this is like some sort of like Sith voice enhancement thing to make him seem more evil
Authentic.
or whatever, it just
It should have
was
carried throughout then if they were
Yeah.
gonna go with it instead of like the first 2 seconds of using this.
And then obviously his voice isn't like that in any of the other movies too. So.
Right.
It's 2 minutes in Revenge of the Sith, and that's it.
So yeah, it was just a bit weird, and it takes you out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there's one last thing to sort of rag on Palpatine in particular. He had to bring up midichlorians again.
Right.
Thought we beat that dead horse in the first movie.
Yep.
I mean, you think George Lucas
We were wrong. We
didn't
thought that
learn
it
his
didn't
lesson?
come back. We
Right.
thought that they didn't come back, but they did.
So powerful and so wise, he could use the Force to influence the midi-chlorians to create life.
So that's it for like the base, like the big groups that we have. And this is sort of like I don't want to say rapid fire. We'll talk about these things, but this is sort of like everything else that we just felt like being nitpicky jerks about to make it enough content for a whole video. So I guess you guys would just sort of start and I'll chime in as necessary.
Okay, we got the R2 CGI / oil fire. Again, they've already proven they can do R2 droid in real life.
Yeah.
And they choose to do some scenes with CGI.
Here, take this and wait for orders.
What was that all about?
Well, R2 has been...
No loose wire jokes.
Did I say anything?
He's trying.
I didn't say anything.
The oil slick CGI, and it doesn't look bad.
Yeah, it
didn't
was not
look
a good. Yeah, it was not a good. It looked like a video game.
I mean, honestly, how hard would it have been to somehow rig up some oil spill fire
Yeah.
in a studio against a green screen or something?
Like, but you don't need to clean it up if it's CGI.
It's called lazy work.
Yeah.
Okay? That doesn't
Well,
mean lazy.
it definitely screams lazy.
It does.
So,
and
and
then
then-
like R2 kind of hopping around out of ships. It just the timing of the fall and everything just doesn't fit
Yeah,
R2.
Right.
And like
it's-
his weight and everything.
Yeah, more of the same sort of physics problems they had from
Yeah.
the second movie kind of coming into this one.
Right.
And the whole bit with him spraying oil on them and lighting them on fire. So again, like when we're talking about like canonical things, like you only see him use the jetpacks in the prequels. What happened to them? And then he's never used an oil slick ever, except
Right.
for in that one scene.
Right.
So it's like there's no reason to ever just put an extra quart of WD-40 in something on the off chance you need to spray it. So it's like somebody had to design this robot
Yes.
to be like, okay, we're gonna oil slick somebody.
Well, or like, a car needs oil. If R2 just got rid of the oil he needed, I mean, his engine's gonna seize up.
Poor
So-
R2. He's seized up.
Yeah.
And again, I'm a big fan for plausibility. We get to a silly little scene where they're on their way to rescue the Chancellor, Obi-Wan and Anakin.
They're escaping with him.
Oh, they're escaping with him.
Yeah.
And they get caught in a ray shield.
Ray shields.
Ray shields. Wait a minute. How did this happen? We're smarter than this.
Apparently not.
There's a long hallway. They have a million devices in order to capture the heroes. And this little tiny tornado ray shield comes down around them and just stops them in place.
It just happens to be right there.
Yeah, the one tractor beam they have that still works is in that hallway.
Right.
So it's just like we're watching the movie, I'm taking notes, and I go, well, that's a little ridiculous. So
They literally just left a room full of people. They could have just had some more people show up and capture them there.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's
I mean, there's 5 bajillion B1s, B2s, droidicas on this ship. They couldn't just come out from the hallways and like they did after they were in the bubble shield. They could have just done that instead.
Yeah, it was just like a weird moment that it's like, why this?
Right. Cutting tool, boop, boop, take that scene out.
Right. And then I know Chris does not like this next one.
Yes. There's a lot of things I don't like. For sure. So this is just a class of vehicle in general that I don't like. And of course, Grievous has one. The wheel that is a motorcycle that you sit inside of.
Yep.
It's just ridiculous, but then they have to take it an extra step further and give it legs.
That was the part for me.
Yeah, I
was
didn't
like,
mind
oh, he's in
the
his motor.
tire.
Oh, he's got legs and wheels. You know,
It's like it all of a sudden turns into this conscious animal that's
it's
running
galloping
around. It's
and
like,
wheeling.
What it reminded me of, this is going to seem weird. So the animated Beauty and the Beast from like '89 Beauty and the Beast, they have like that footstool.
Yes,
that runs around. It reminds me of the way the footstool moves, and it's like so. Now I'm imagining. So granted, they're both Disney properties now, but I'm just imagining General Grievous cruising around with this footstool.
That's awesome,
and that's the level of ridiculousness that strikes me with.
That's totally
funny.
true.
That's okay. Now that's firmly planted in my brain, I feel I need to do a drawing.
So we've been to conventions and Star Wars celebrations, and we've seen real life clones and people with awesome armor.
Yeah.
But in Star Wars Episode 3,
they had to CGI every single one. I mean,
Again.
even in the old movies,
you had stormtroopers were real.
it was actual armor. It's not. Oh, we're just gonna. Well, I mean, then they couldn't CGI, but they did. They took the time to actually make armor,
and it just looks better. That's the thing.
Right.
And at that point, I'm sure the 501st probably may have started to make clone armor because the clones were in.
Yeah, it had been 3 years since Episode 2.
Exactly. So
definitely people are doing it.
Yep.
Right, and the 501st have been around since what, the 70s?
A long time.
They've been around for quite some time. You would think at that point they could have even contacted the 501st and been like,
come
hey,
bring out some.
yeah.
Yeah, you want to be in a movie?
Right. Well, they did that for
Mandalorian.
They actually contacted the 501st to fill in stormtroopers in certain areas of the TV show.
Yeah,
And so it's like they don't have an
CGI
excuse.
Clones.
Yeah, so they decided to just CGI everything else. Is like,
I mean, yeah. So
it's not bad, but it's like it's lazy. I get
No, yeah, it is. It just shows that they're just trying to get it done. And like so when a movie costs, like hundreds of millions of dollars and stuff, is that if you can find a way to save $1 somewhere else, and I don't even know if it's necessarily cheaper to do the CGI. It's simpler.
Right. It takes longer.
Right.
Yeah, it's like it's the old thing where it's like, oh, fix it in post or whatever. It's like if you do it right on set, you don't need to worry about it afterwards.
Right. Well, Cody, they actually made him armor, right? When he hands like Kenobi the lightsaber.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Wait,
I think
he's
it's
completely
CGI.
CGI.
I think so.
I think it's a person like so you know how they did like CGI the suits on
So like the
Endgame?
green suit and then
I think because I feel like I've heard that there's not a piece of clone armor made for those movies.
Yeah.
Lazy.
So
speaking of like just CGI, there's just overall this movie just has some bad CGI.
Yeah, I mean they're still working out the kinks. It's the early 2000s still.
yeah, it's a lot better than the first two were.
Yes.
But like again, like Yoda doesn't look the greatest.
R2, I feel R2 looks the worst.
R2 absolutely, and
and
that see we have a given now. We know what R2 looks like as an actual prop on the set,
right?
And so when you go back and CGI him,
and we know what Yoda looks like in real life too.
That's true. Yeah,
Right. Well, in the first two, is R2 CGI? Or
no, he's not. He might be in parts of two.
I think there's bits that he is, but
when
for
you
the
see
most
the
part,
jetpack in two.
Right.
yeah, for the most part, he's real.
And then I feel in this one, in
more
Revenge of the
CGI,
Sith, it's completely CGI. Are there any scenes where it's actually?
sure.
I think there are some, but I think if he's because he's doing a lot of actions that would require the CG version of him.
I suppose hopping out of ships and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I guess.
so but
I mean,
like if he's just sitting there, I think he's the actual R2-D2.
Okay.
But like if he's doing anything else, it seems they're just like, nope, just put the CG model in.
Right. The crappy CG model.
All right, Kara, this was your beef.
Yeah, so we had to include this because Kara was so adamant that we include this in the list.
It's ridiculous. Who sleeps with pearls on the sleeves of their nightgown? Do you know how uncomfortable that'd be? I don't like your theory that the mattress soaks in the pearls.
They have obviously some sort of space version of a Casper mattress.
Yes.
All right,
And
ladies.
it's so decadent and soft that
Right.
the pearls just get conformed around and there's no pressure there.
I don't buy that. Ladies, comment below if you would wear pearls on your sleeves at night and have them dig into your arm and like permadents in your arm.
I mean, you could pay to have that fixed if you had enough money to sleep with pearls on.
So 10 seconds of context in the scene where Anakin first dreams that Padme is going to die. We see Anakin wake up. Padme wakes up next to him. She's wearing a nightgown laced in pearls.
Well, you see her before
Yeah.
that. Before they go to bed, you see the pearls
Right.
on her nightgown.
And then
you
Kara
see her
instantly,
sleeping,
she's
and
like, no one would
nobody.
ever would do
I
that.
honestly didn't even notice until she brought it
didn't
up, so
even
I'm
thought-
glad that
didn't
Kara
even-
was there because
Didn't even enter my mind. It's the way we
It
love your
drives
perspective.
me absolutely bonkers. It's just
your next cosplay should be pearl nightgown.
seriously, and like I'm just gonna I'm gonna paint like
Bruises.
Yes, I'm gonna paint bruises on my arms with the pearls and be like, this is what, don't wear pearls at night.
The Princess and the Pea, I think, was written by Kara.
Oh, yes. The Princess and
Okay.
the Pearls.
The Princess and the Pearls.
I was gonna say the princess. It doesn't have 50 mattresses between her now. It's just the friggin' pearl in her
I'm telling you,
arm.
space mattress. It's a thing.
Space Mattress.
Man alive. Sorry, that just
Believe it or
kills
not.
me.
Last thing about episode 3 that we thought was
And it's basically at the end of the movie. So, of the great injustices of the world, so you talk to a parent and like, which child do you like more, right? And they're like, we like them both evenly. Well, I think you can clearly show. So Leia got to grow up under the charge of Bail Organa as a princess.
yes.
My wife and I will take the girl. We've always talked of adopting a baby girl. She will be loved with us.
And what of the boy?
To Tatooine, to his family send him.
I will take the child and watch over him.
Run in Alderaan, beautiful mount. Be like Earth. Alderaan is Earth.
And then Luke gets to go and dust crops, literally.
Farm
What are
moisture.
you?
Farming moisture.
I'm a moisture farmer.
He just wants to go to Tashi Station to get those
Power converters. That's the only thing he wants is a power converter.
Imagine growing up and that's your life. Poor Luke absolutely got the short.
Because like obviously like both of them are going to be force sensitive. So why does one get to be put in a position of prominence
Right.
and the other one has to hide out in Darth Vader's home planet?
Where Anakin grew up.
My goodness. It's just it's ridiculous that they chose Tatooine.
Didn't they say though that, I don't know if it was in the movie or if it was in Leia Princess of Alderaan book, Bail and Bria talk about that they wanted to adopt a girl.
They say that
Specifically.
in the movie says we always wanted to adopt.
We always want a girl, we'll take the girl. That's
Yeah.
actually kind of funny because he doesn't even wait. He's like, we'll take the girl.
Yeah, and
We've
it's
always
like
wanted
we
to
know
adopt.
Luke's gonna be a whiner. I was
Right?
like, we don't have the budget for power converters. But yeah, so it's just again like that's like we get
Right.
it. He has to get to Tatooine, but they sort of ruined it by making Anakin from also Tatooine. They could have picked any other
Right.
crappy outer rim desert planet, but they had to pick where he's from.
Could have went to Jakku.
Yeah, and just it's such a bummer. And whatever, we're nitpicking. It's fine, but it just
But we are
it kind
passionate
of
about our nitpicks.
yeah, it makes me mad a little bit. So
Apparently not as mad as the pearls make me.
So those are the things that we came up with that made episode 3 a terrible movie. The things that take you out of it, that make you upset, that frustrate you, the little plot holes, the inconveniences, the injustices, the self-forced lightnings to the face. So, but I'm sure there's things that may have driven you guys crazy that we didn't pick up. Comment those below. Let us know why you think episode 3 isn't a great movie. Also, like this video if you like what we're doing. We're going to make more of these about some of the other Star Wars films. Maybe more if you guys really like what we're doing, but hit the subscribe button, come back, check out what we're doing. If you want to be notified of everything that we're uploading, hit the notification bell. You'll get notified every time we make an upload. And of course,
May the Force be with you.